Like many people who were tired of their respective careers, they wanted to sink their teeth into something that had a passion for them. And like many of our show participants, found their way into the equestrian lines of clothing, promoting, seeking out the best companies, and attending and talking to people at numerous trade shows filled the void. The company operating out of Calgary, Alberta, carries its signature line, Cultured Cowgirl Equestrian, which encompasses rider wear and casual wear for both on and off your equine. In addition to the award-winning Nira boots, which you'll see our models wearing this evening.
Yeah.
During her 6 years as a sales representative for a technical fabric mill in the Pacific Northwest, Cheryl Rudolph learned hands-on about the highly competitive and creative world of top athletic apparel designers. An amateur dressage equestrian, she toyed with the idea of a new design for riding pants. It took a nudge from her terminally ill father, who had first introduced her to horses when she was 5, to actually go for it. In 2005, Cheryl took what she knew from designing performance sports apparel and set out to design a new line of performance riding wear. She assembled a world-class design team, researched the physics of riding, and analyzed the spectrum of sewing materials and techniques to come up with a design that would help every rider perform, feel, and look better. Sharon Lomas has always been regarded as a trendy dresser. Following her passion for beautiful clothing, she was led to Europe, where some of the finest designers come create ultimate clothing lines. Before long, her dreams of being able to share her expertise with friends and eventually customers has become a reality. The Macy line of leather jackets and shearlings leaves most people breathless. Finally, a line that is truly unique and worthy of both men and women, as it clearly defines their personality.